Well, hello, and welcome back to Bible Study. So glad that you are back with us for another day as we are continuing through this journey of a book by Scott. I almost forgot the name there. A book by Scott Erickson called Honest Advent. And I love this book because what this book is doing is it is helping us hopefully put wonder back into the season. And I don't know about you, but certainly the wonder and the majesty of Christmas, the way that maybe it used to feel, is something that sometimes I wonder if it's going to be recaptured during the year again, especially with all of the things that we've been facing, all the distractions, all the burdens of the season that we are facing in front of us. We could do a little bit of work, maybe just pausing for a moment and reflecting and centering ourselves. And that's what we hope to do each and every time that we are together on this journey. So grateful that you are here with us. If you'd like to know more about Christ Table, the ministry that makes all of this possible, super easy to do. Simply visit that website right there, www.christtable.today. We would love to have you a part of what we're doing. Sign up for the email list there. And also want to encourage you this time of year as people are looking towards year-end giving, looking towards ministries, and looking towards taxes for the next year. You may donate in a way that is safe and secure and also tax deductible. In fact, within a few days, I should have a letter going out to all of those who are giving, confirming for you the tax status, that it is legally able to be deducted on your taxes. And so visit www.christtable.today. And for anyone who gives, I have a gift that I'm going to send you in the mail. It's a great gift, a whole box of resources that I would love to send out to you. Well, let's dig in. We are in the midst of a 3-day journey looking at one verse. Now, this verse is not necessarily typically seen as being a Christmas verse, but it oftentimes is, and perhaps well should be as well. That is Revelation chapter 1, verse 8. Now, I know Revelation, for any of you who know anything about the Bible, is it's crazy. It's chaos. For those of you who don't know anything about the book of Revelation, I certainly do not encourage you to begin reading in the book of Revelation. But today I want to speak about breath. And Alicia, it's good to see you on here as well. Alicia is a nurse in one of our communities up north in Ohio and in Cleveland. And this idea of breath is something that every time I'm in a hospital setting, I'm amazed by. And so the reading today talks a little bit about breath, but if you didn't do the reading, essentially what it points out is that breath is something that we do whether or not we think about it. And really, breath is something that we do whether or not we even want to. If you are living, you are breathing. If you're not living, you're not breathing. And one of the primary questions that oftentimes faces those of us, like myself, who are in situations of pastoral care at end-of-life situations is, if someone or something is breathing for you, if you are being assisted in your breathing, if you're on a ventilation system, if you're on a CPAP, BiPAP machine, or these types of things, are you truly alive? If you're on the ventilation system, are you alive? If you're removed from the ventilation system, will you still be alive? These are questions that plague us not just medically, but these are also questions that haunt us spiritually. Is what does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to have breath? Many of us, dead man walking. Many of us are walking around as though we are alive, but on the inside, we don't feel any life. We don't feel any breath of fresh air or breath of excitement. Why do we say all of that? Well, as we get into this conversation today, and I'm just going to touch the surface of it. We're only going to be here for a couple of minutes because this is kind of a 3-part thing, and I want to save some stuff for tomorrow. But this verse right here, I am the Alpha and the Omega. This is Jesus. This is God speaking here, telling us about, I'm going to say itself, because I don't think that God is either fully male or fully female. I think he is He is all of that wrapped into one. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, says the Lord God. I am the one who is, who always was, and who is still to come, the Almighty One. So God's telling us something about who God is here in this verse. Alpha, first word of the Greek alphabet. Omega, last word of the Greek alphabet. So the beginning and the end. The Department of Redundancy Department. It says it in Greek and then it says it in English. But it is that second half of the phrase, the one who is, who always was, and is to come. And I want to pay attention to that middle part right there, the one who is. In that verse, what we have is we essentially have God saying, I've been here for a really long time. I'm still here. And I'm going to be here for a really long time. But it's that one in the middle. I'm here. That I think to us, whenever we're struggling, maybe when we're in those end of life moments, or when we're in those moments of life where metaphorically we're questioning whether or not there is any life within us, the question that is at hand is there anything now that is stable? Is there anything now that is true? Is there anything now that is good? Is there anything now that is loving? When we feel alone, when we feel rejected, when we feel lost, what we want is something stable to hold on to. Since I'm talking about end-of-life care, oftentimes in those situations of end of life, it's the hospice nurse. It's those doctors or those people who walk through the final stages with us who become our rock, our stability. We expect them to give us hope that everything's going to be okay. And I think that this is what we can hold on to in this verse right here, is that God is saying to us, in those difficult moments, it's not very helpful to say, yeah, I've always been there for you. It's not always helpful to say, I'll be there for you. What we really need to hear is, I'm right here with you. And that's who God is. In fact, he tells us that's who he is. We're not guessing. We're not assuming. We're not reading in between the lines. God right here in this verse says, this is who I am. I'm the God who was. I'm the God who is still to come. But I am the one who is. I think that this is a powerful statement to us, especially at Christmas time, because of this verse right here, Matthew chapter 1, verse 23, where the prophecy is given that a virgin, Mary, is going to conceive a child. You may have heard this verse in a Christmas pageant, or you may have read it as a part of the Christmas story. She will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, the passage says, which means God is with us. And usually at this moment, the angels sing, or the crescendo of the music increases in that moment in the Christmas pageant. But this may well be one of the most important, one of the most meaningful, and perhaps one of the most powerful statements about Christmas at all, is that Jesus Christ is the one who is. Not just a little baby laying in a manger 2,000 years ago, not just a little porcelain figure in your little creche scene at mom's or grandmother's house that's been passed down through generations, not just that little crying baby on the platform during a church Christmas cantata, not a story that we tell about what once was, but a God who still is present. And isn't, when we're walking through tough times, isn't that really what we need, what we want, what we hold on to? The only thing that we desire is for someone to be present with us. That's why so many marriages break down, is because the other person just isn't present with us, maybe physically, but oftentimes it's emotionally. They're just not present with you. They're not in it. They're somewhere else. And you can't have a relationship if that's the case. So many families break down because mom, dad can't be present with their kids where they are, what they're struggling with. how they identify, who they marry, the career choice that they make a decision not to be present, and it breaks the relationship. In marriages, one partner or the other sometimes makes a decision to not be present. And if somebody isn't willing to be present with you, there can be no relationship. God tells us that He chooses to be present with you. Not because He has to, not because you make Him, not because He needs to, but God tells you, I choose to be present with you. I'm making that choice. And there aren't any qualifications on it. It doesn't say if you act this way, if you go to church this number of times, if you say a certain number of Hail Marys, if you've done confession or penance. It doesn't say that I choose to be with you if you'll avoid saying that word or doing that thing. It just says I choose you. That even God's name means God with, and I'd change that as to you, God with you. God with you. Is there anything more powerful of a statement than that Christmas tree behind me makes, than a reminder to us this time of year, a tough time of year for many of us, that God chooses to be is the one who is present. So what does it say about a God who's willing to be that present with us? I'm going to let you answer that. I'm not going to pose an answer to that, but I want you, because I'm going to be doing the same thing, I want you to wrestle with that question. What for you, right now, does it mean for a God who says, I am willing to be this present with you? Revelation 1:8. It's been good to be with you this morning. Thanks so much for taking a few moments to join in with us. Look forward to being back with you tomorrow as we finish out this 3-day run through that crazy verse in Revelation chapter 1, verse 8. But until tomorrow, happy reading.